Welcome to Champagne Sunday. I'm Lauren.
Hey, I'm Bonnie.
I'm Beth.
And we're going to talk about life
After divorce.
And living
The best life.
and the life you love.
Yes, living the life you love on that other side.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome. All right, so our question tonight, so we've already pre-gamed this just a little bit.
Accidentally.
Is how do we deal with the aftermath of divorce, where we are feeling judged and left out and are having to navigate the new waters in this whole new definition of who we are among our communities.
So, we touched on this a little bit, but it is the splitting up of the couple things. Like when you're used to doing things as couples, when people invite you to things as couples, when you have couples, friends that you do things with that are couples, they don't know what to do with you when you don't have the other. And I don't know that people intend to choose sides, but it just kind of organically happens, and you definitely lose friends in the process. And, that judgment will come in. And what sucks is, whether you've done anything wrong or not, this judgment ends up coming in. And I mean, a lot of times I've been like, wait, what did I do? I didn't do anything. But it's whatever story gets told. It's, whatever people decide it looks like.
Well, and especially when you're going through the divorce, because if there are any hurt feelings whatsoever, then your ex is on the defensive and starts, and you feel like you have to defend with people who know him or whatever. Because I definitely felt judged in ways. I lost a couple of friends over, and it wasn't really even for anything real necessarily. It was probably uncomfortable. So it just feeling judged, feeling like it was my fault, even though we'd been in it for so long.
Right.
And Beth, you've talked about how long you grieved.
I think, mine, I think we talked about this. Even when divorce is the right thing to do, and both parties know that this is the right thing to do, you still grieve it. I look at mine as, it was 10 years before I realized, from the point that my ex was having an affair and leaving me and the kids, till the actual divorce, till he actually divorced me and left. And during that time, I felt like my marriage was a cancer patient, and I grieved my marriage for 10 years. So when it actually happened, I had a sense of relief, and that didn't really sit well with a lot of people because they didn't see I was, really good at covering up, because I also didn't want my kids to see what I was doing. And I don't know, there are different points on that. That's a whole nother conversation, what you let your kids see and not see and know and not know. But I think because I was very private, except for my best friends, about everything that was going on, that I think people just thought, well, they got divorced and Beth is doing her thing and she doesn't seem bothered by it, even though it was tremendously upsetting. There was a huge grief process, even though I had grieved it for 10 years. When it actually happened and the dust settled, you have all those things that people don't talk about to figure out how you as a single mom are going to do things, and how you're going to pay for it, and how you have to retrain your children to, these are your expectations now as opposed to before.
Setting up new traditions for all of the holidays.
Exactly. And so, really hit me that I thought I was doing great with it, because I had done all this work and had all this therapy for 10 years. And, my youngest child went to a private school, Christian school, and I was in pickup line, and everybody was looking at me one day, and finally somebody came to the window and tapped on the window, and I rolled it down, and she said, I just want you to know that we all prayed for you today. I was like, what?
Thank you.
Apparently,
we all prayed for the heathen woman.
My child had stood up during chapel and said, please pray for my mother. She cries every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize that. I thought I was, just going about my business. And I did cry, maybe not every day, but I did cry because I was.
Well, kids see everything, whether they want them to or not.
What's funny, and I think you and I have had this conversation before, but people that you think would never take the other side do.
Oh,
and it's shocking.
It is shocking.
People who know the entire story have heard everything about your relationship, and all of a sudden you're getting divorced and they side with the other person. Yeah. And or are there for the other person and not there for you.
Well, I mean, I think you hit it on the head when you said, well, I felt the same, like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I didn't have an affair.
Yeah.
I didn't want this divorce.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. All this was done to me.
Yeah. And here I am getting all this blowback, and I was thinking, wait a minute.
Hold on.
It's very surprising. And I think those people, I had a couple of betrayals of very, very good friends. And it just kind of sucks the wind out of you. You just think, wait a minute, I'm blindsided.
I have sort of had to make like a mental rule that I just can't be close to people who are also close to him. I can't be. Like, right. I can be cordial and friendly, but I can't be close friends with people who are close friends with my ex. And
I totally get that.
Yeah. I think after time, maybe that changes a little. I have had friends come back.
Yeah, you've had more time.
I've had friends come back and say, oh, I'm sorry I took a side, or I really miss your friendship, or I love you and didn't mean for this to get between us, even though it was my divorce.
But you want to be like, well, hold on. The whole time I was going through my divorce,
where were you?
You weren't there.
I just think people, getting back to the point, people don't know what to say.
They don't know
how
to
act.
Yeah.
You have been packaged as the couple.
Yeah.
People are used to seeing you together, or the family unit, or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, I always feel like the third wheel, the fifth wheel, the seventh wheel. I mean, I have things that I have to go to. I won't say I can't buy a date, but I haven't tried it yet. But
I was just take a gay friend.
Or neighbor.
Or neighbor.
I just don't know what to do, and nobody knows what to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I acutely feel that people don't know what to do with me as the person that used to do all this stuff with them, and now I'm just the one person instead of the couple. Because, it's easier playing by twos.
Yeah.
For seating, for dinners, for...
Well, that's for so many years of my marriage, especially the last 5, my ex-husband was really more into his alcoholism. Had sort of fallen off. We would still both get invited places, but only I would show up. So I think at some point people just kind of got used to it just being me. And so I was continued to be invited to some things because they got that normal. But as we were saying,
I did a lot of things socially on my own, actually.
And that made it feel more normal to be around all of these people without him, just not having to make excuses anymore. Mm-hmm. But I really think, as I stated earlier, that did not get recorded, that our married friends, our friends who've never considered divorce, who have never been divorced, who are in even just semi-happy marriages, don't get it.
Or that it's so close to home. Or that it's so close to home that they don't want it near them,
Right. Well, but I think
that might be a lot of it too.
Yeah, but I think it's such you don't understand divorce. Like, I know friends who went through divorce, and I can see it from the outside before it ever happened to me. But you don't understand the emotional trauma. Yeah. Even in the best of divorces, there is emotional trauma that you have to navigate. Well, and I don't think, unless you've been through it, you can look at it and go, well, this is what you wanted. I don't understand. Right. And I think it's hard for those people who have not been through it to truly be able to put themselves in your place.
Even if it is what you wanted, which I think the 3 of us all wanted our divorces, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was resigned to that fact after. Yeah.
But
I don't think any of us wanted that to be the way our marriages turned out.
For
but
me,
in the end,
that's what I was going to hit on is like, there's this sense of I failed at this.
Yes.
Or I chose wrong. Like, all of those things are really hard to wrap your head around. That, like, you invested this much time in something that did not work.
Yeah, 21 years is a long time.
Like,
label yourself as a failure. I've done that.
Yeah. Like, that's a big emotion to try to get through. And to try to understand, like, that it's not a waste of time. And it's hard not to think, but it's hard not to think of it as that.
I had to reframe that for myself to move forward and say it wasn't a waste
really
of time.
Hard.
my marriage was not a failure. It just played out.
Yeah.
It just it was what it was supposed to be. It began and it came to a natural end, and that wasn't a failure. It's just where it happened.
Yeah.
It's just a part of my life experience. And I move on. But it took me a while to get there. But I had to find a way to make it not feel like that was so much of a failure. I just had to agree that it was just the way it was supposed to be.
Well, I mean, nobody sets out to get married thinking, oh, well,
I'm
I'll
going to
get
get
a
divorced.
divorce.
Right.
I mean, I don't. Okay, I'll reframe that because I did have a builder once who was on his, 7th or 8th wife. He was building my house, and he kept divorce papers in his junk drawer, and I said, this is probably why you keep getting divorced. Because maybe you're going into it with
the wrong
good
idea.
intentions. But you don't start off. I mean, everybody starts off with I love this person so much, I want to get married.
Right.
And this is my forever person.
Yes.
I found my person, my one and only person.
Do you know what my therapist said? I can't remember if I talked about this in a different episode, but she said, people who are in their early 20s getting married, they don't know what that spark feels like what the connection that you're really supposed to have. They don't really know what it feels like. They haven't had time yet to feel it. And so they end up getting married because they think that that's the person. Then they realize it's not the person. She said, so you got a lot of really good people coming back on the market in their 40s.
But that's right. And I think that all three of us at some point since divorce, which I find a little fascinating, we have all been able to experience that soul connection with a spark. And we know what it is supposed to be for us.
That is true.
And I don't think any of the three of us will settle at this point in time.
No.
Because we now know what it's supposed to be. And I did not have that in my marriage. I had love in my marriage. We had care in our marriage. But I did not have a soul connection and a huge spark.
Mm-hmm.
We had attraction. But I have found out since then it's absolutely not the same.
No,
it's not. And, I don't think anybody that's had that is going to want to settle.
I wouldn't think so.
For something that's less
not
than that.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so.
Because why would you spend your time on... I'm just at the point that I wouldn't spend my time on that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So...
All right, ladies. Are you doing anything to bring yourself some joy this week?
I'm supposed to go on a date. I'm having second thoughts. This is from the last day of my online dating app that I swore I would never do, but I agreed to it with a friend. So I'm not sure that I'm going to go on mine, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm creating this week. I've painted a painting and I'm stitching.
I'm trying to get my house in order.
Well, I am not going on any dates.
Okay.
I am going to go see my daughter 9 hours away through a hurricane. So that should be fun. Lots of good driving in the rain. So that will be my thing. And then getting ready for the art show next weekend.
That'll be fun.
So that's it. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Yes, we'll see you next time. Or hear you. Well, we'll talk to you.
Bye-bye.
That's it. Thank y'all for joining us for Champagne Sunday.
See you next week, girls.
See you next week. Yeah, cheers.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.